Have you ever felt completely alone, trapped, with help just out of reach? Imagine that feeling, but amplify it 1,000 times. You're a Navy SEAL, deep in enemy territory, surrounded, and the radio, your only lifeline is silent. That's where our story begins, on a moonless night in a forgotten corner of a war zone. For the men of Alpha Platoon, SEAL Team 3, this was supposed to be a standard reconnaissance mission. Get in, gather intel on a high-value target, and get out before sunrise. They were the best of the best, trained for every contingency. But as the saying goes, no plan survives contact with the enemy. The intel was bad. The supposedly quiet village was a hornet's nest, and they had just kicked it. The first crack of a rifle sent them diving for cover. It was an ambush, perfectly executed. Within minutes, they were pinned down in a crumbling adobe compound, outnumbered and outgunned. The air, thick with dust and the smell of cordite, vibrated with the constant roar of automatic weapons fire. Tracers, like angry red insects, zipped through the darkness, chipping away at their meager cover. Petty Officer Miller, the team's radio man, was desperately trying to raise someone, anyone. He cycled through frequencies, his voice tense but steady. Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Alpha 3. We are under heavy fire. Coordinates to follow. We are taking casualties. We need immediate air support. How? Copy. Silence. Only the hiss of static answered. He tried again. Any station. This is Alpha 3. We are in a troops in contact situation, requesting immediate extraction and close air support. Does anyone read me? Again. Nothing but static. The enemy's jamming equipment was working flawlessly. The team was cut off, an island in a sea of hostility. Their hearts sank. In the world of special operations, silence on the radio is a death sentence. It meant no gunships, no reinforcements, no way out. They were on their own. The team leader, Lieutenant Commander Axe Jensen, knew the odds were grim. He moved from position to position, his presence a calming force in the chaos. Conserve your ammo. Make every shot count. They want us to panic, to burn through our rounds. Don't give them the satisfaction. But as the hours crawled by, their ammunition dwindled. The enemy, emboldened by the lack of air support, grew more aggressive. They were probing, testing the SEALs' defenses, trying to find a weak point to exploit for a final, overwhelming assault. The SEALs were professionals, but they were also human. Fatigue was setting in, and with it, a cold dread. They had fought their way out of tight spots before, but this felt different. This felt final. Just as the first hints of dawn threatened to expose their positions completely, a new sound cut through the din of battle. It wasn't the roar of a friendly jet or the thumping of a rescue helicopter. It was a single, distinct, and utterly terrifying crack. It was the sound of a high-caliber sniper rifle. But this sound wasn't coming from the enemy positions. It was coming from somewhere else entirely, somewhere high above them. A machine gunner who had been pouring relentless fire into the compound suddenly went silent. His weapon clattered to the ground. A moment later, another shot. An enemy mortar team that was setting up to pound the SEALs into oblivion scattered as their leader fell crack. Another enemy fighter, creeping along a wall, crumpled to the ground. The SEALs looked at each other, confusion mixing with a glimmer of hope. Who was this? Where did they come from? The shots were methodical, precise, and devastatingly effective. It was as if a ghost had joined the fight, an avenging angel with a .50 caliber rifle. The enemy was thrown into disarray. They couldn't locate the source of the shots. The sniper was a phantom, striking from the shadows with supernatural accuracy. The relentless pressure on the SEALs eased, giving them a precious moment to breathe, to reload, to tend to their wounded. Axe got on the radio one more time, a desperate, last-ditch attempt. Unknown station firing on our behalf. This is Alpha 3. Identify yourself. This time, a voice crackled back. It was calm, unhurried, almost casual. Evening, Alpha 3. Looks like you boys stirred up the pot a bit. Axe couldn't believe it. Who is this? How did you find us? The voice replied. Let's just say I was in the neighborhood, heard the party, and thought I'd drop by. I've got eyes on you from the ridge to the east. I'm painting a target for you, a little gift. On my mark." Suddenly, the roar that Axe had been praying for all night filled the sky. 10 warthogs, the tank busters, screamed overhead. They had been loitering nearby, unable to identify friendly forces from the enemy in the dark chaos. The sniper was their eyes. "Mark," the voice on the radio said calmly. The A-10s unleashed hell. The ground shook as their cannons tore through the enemy positions, turning the ambush into a rout. Within minutes, the overwhelming enemy force was broken, scattered and retreating. As the sun finally crested the horizon, a rescue helicopter descended towards the compound. The exhausted SEALs, battered but alive, were pulled aboard. As they lifted off, Axe looked towards the eastern ridge, trying to spot their savior. He saw nothing but rock and shadow. Back at base, the debrief was surreal. No one knew who the sniper was. There were no friendly units scheduled to be in that sector. He wasn't part of any official mission. He was a ghost. Unofficially, whispers circulated about a legendary operator, a lone wolf who sometimes worked outside the lines, a man known only by a calcine that was spoken in hushed, reverent tones. The men of Alpha 3 never learned the sniper's real name. He never got to thank him face to face, but they never forgot him. He was the answer when no one else would or could respond. A single warrior who, with his rifle and his resolve, shattered the silence of the night and turned certain death into a story of survival. This story is a powerful reminder that sometimes hope doesn't come in the form of a cavalry charge. Sometimes it's a single, well-placed shot from the darkness. A lone individual in the right place at the right time with the right skills can change the entire course of a battle and save the day. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as incredible as we did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the world of heroes. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.